and it's the end of November, so the next two videos will be wrap-up videos. As you know, I did Sherlockathon for 4 weeks between October and November, and Believeathon for November. So I'm just going to share with you the books I actually managed to read, the books I didn't manage to read, and overall how I've read this month. Yay. Sherlockathon, hosted by Flick. And I'll leave the website and details all down below so you can go and find out what we've been doing. The Discord channels are still open because we're chatting about various stuff still. And I think there's a plan to carry on doing the film night as well, so that'd be really cool. They were really, really enjoyable. So overall, I loved doing the Sherlockathon reading challenge. It was great fun. It was lovely to meet so many new people. And just, I think it rekindled my love of Sherlock Holmes quite significantly. I certainly saw Sherlock in a very different light because we watched The Hounds of Baskerville having read the book, and I think I really appreciated just how clever Mark Gatiss and Stephen Moffat are when it comes to taking elements from the original canon and modernising them. So yeah, that show I don't think gets the love it deserves, and I think a lot of people call it clever without actually understanding how good and how close to the canon it really is. So those of you that just say, oh, it's smarmy and cool, no, you miss the point and you need to go and read the canon. Thank you very much, because it's so much more than that. Anyway, so the books I managed to read. I read the group book, The Hound of the Baskervilles. We did this over the Halloween weekend, and that was great fun doing it as a group and sort of posting questions to each other and everything. The Discord channel for this is still open, and it's broken down into chapters so you can put your own thoughts on that. But I've done a full review on this on my blog, which you'll find the links down below. And yeah, I actually enjoyed this a lot more than I remembered enjoying it when I reread it when in my 20s. And it's not perfect. It's obviously written at a time when there are problematic issues, but it's a very, very enjoyable book. And actually, if you don't read Sherlock Holmes, The Hound of the Baskervilles is probably the one I'd put you on and say start with that, because it's Watson's story and he's much more approachable than Holmes. I read The Adventure of the Dancing Men, which is one of the short stories from The Return of Sherlock Holmes. This is actually my favourite collection of Holmes stories. But yeah, The Dancing Men, I have listened to it several times from the BBC Radio 4 adaptations of the canon, and so I know it really well. But it's quite nice reading it and just seeing how the story progresses quite quickly, and it's one of the few times where Holmes actually fails his client, and that's quite interesting to see. Cinderella is Dead by Kailyn Baymon. This is a Cinderella retelling, own voices, LGBTQ plus representation, and it basically pulls the fairy tale to pieces in a very clever way and really highlights you can't always believe what you're told beautifully. I really recommend this to everybody. I'd say this is a very, very good retelling. The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. This was for my tome challenge. This took forever and might be the reason why I didn't quite get as many books read as I wanted to, but this is the second book in the Mistborn trilogy, which I'm hoping to finish before the end of the year, so wish me luck on that. I really enjoyed this. Certainly the romance element in here is very beautifully done. We definitely have a power couple, which is fantastic. I love the use of magic in here, the rules that is created around it, and certainly there is a big bad that is very much on the horizon in this one. Some people say it's a bit slow because it's all about a siege building up, and that doesn't really start happening until quite late into the story, but actually I thought it was really good at highlighting the tension and the politics and, you know, the characters' own state of minds and that. So I thought actually the siege being as long as it was made a lot of sense for me. Aberismus Monomer. This is by Malcolm Price, first book in the Aberismus Noir series. I think there's 5 books he wrote. And this is, yeah, think Humphrey Bogart, but in deepest, darkest Wales, and every Welsh trope that you can think. It's very, very funny, very witty. It's quite dark in places. There's a little bit of problematic content, but it's not from the author, it's from other characters. It's just not picked up upon, which I think could be a little offensive to some readers. But actually, I really enjoyed this, and I took it for what it was, a fun noir story from about 20 years ago. Enola Holmes and the Case of the Missing Marquez by Nancy Springer. This is the first in the Enola Holmes series. Obviously, I've got the Netflix tie-in cover because for some stupid reason, I can't get this series in the UK. I'm trying so hard to get this in because I've got students who want to read more of this and I can't get it in. So, Doyle Estate, sort your shit out. But yeah, this is what the Netflix adaptation is loosely based upon. I would say the Netflix adaptation is probably more of a full story than this. This is quite light, gentle. It's very much a focus on Enola setting out and finding her own feet rather than a mystery to be solved and that. So I would say that. But it's very enjoyable. Enola's a very likeable character and I did like a lot of the setup in here. And finally I managed to read Damn Rebel Bitches, The Women of the 45 by Maggie Craig. This is a non-fiction collection of stories and factual information about the women during the Jacobite uprising. And it's fascinating. Obviously, we all know about Flora MacDonald, who helped Prince Charlie get to the Isle of Skye and to freedom, but actually there's a lot more to her story, and Maggie Craig has tracked down several women who were actively involved during the Jacobite uprising, politically, militarily, and it's quite fascinating seeing how much women have been ignored from history when you put it together like this. It's told in a really easy way to read. We don't focus on one person at a time, but they're sort of all interwoven in that under general themes of like warrior women, political women, those that didn't get involved, women on the Hanoverian side as well, they're covered a little bit. And yeah, certainly the defining feature that comes across is because Westminster then portrayed these women as barbarians and men rather than women. Women rights and progression was put back by about 150 years purely by Westminster going, no, we're not having women rising up and being intelligent, because certainly the women of the Jacobite rising just showed how far women were prepared to go, how much they could do, and how smart and intelligent they were. And I think men in Westminster in particular were very terrified of the prospect of women rising up across the country. But yeah, this is a fascinating read, and if you can get your hands on it, mine came from the Culloden Museum, which is full of brilliant books all about that era, obviously. But yeah, if you can get your hands on a copy of it, I highly recommend it because it really does address the balance of women in history, particularly at that point in time. So that's what I managed to read. Now, like I say, I think Well of Ascension, it took me over 2 weeks to read, and that's possibly what's put me back. The other thing is I'm only doing 3 weeks travelling into work at the moment, so yeah, I get very slack on the days I don't go into work and I don't actually read as much as I could be reading. And I'm also very conscious of the larger books taking up a lot of room in my bag and actually being very, very heavy. So I did not get around to book 2 in the Expanse series by James S.A. Corey. This is Caliban's War. I wanted to finish the Expanse series this year. It's not going to happen. Descendant of the Crane by Joan He. I was going to read this. I mean, my copy is beautiful, and I actually found out that her publisher has not been paying her for the books that have been sold. So I'm just going to highlight out there, if you can go and pre-order Joan's new book, give her all the support that you can, because for an author not to be paid for their work is appalling. Obviously, most of us know about Alan Dean Foster and Disney at the moment, but yeah, Joan is another one whose publishers completely failed to uphold their end of the contract. So she needs a lot of support at the moment. But I really wanted to read this. I've had it on my shelf for a couple of years now. I still haven't got around to it. I'm so sorry. And Unravel the Dusk by Elizabeth Lim. This is the sequel to Spin the Dawn, which I'm really, really excited to read. I just haven't got to it, and I'm kicking myself because I'm so bad. You know, I've even got a bookmark in here ready to go and I just didn't get to it, so it's really bad of me. We've got a month left to go, so I hopefully will stick them on my list and try and squeeze them in over Christmas. There we are. So that was my Sherlockathon wrap up. Post links to your blogs and videos of what you managed to read. Like I said, Discord is open, so you can do chats and all that down there as well, which would be really cool. And certainly Sherlockathon will be coming back again next year. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm hoping that more of you will join us because it's so much fun. And it's amazing how much you actually learn about Sherlock Holmes and how the character and the canon has evolved through history. It's kind of cool. As always, links to my social media are in the description box down below. You can find me on Goodreads, Twitter and Instagram. My book blog's down there with reviews that I've done and more ramblings about Sherlockathon, because you know how coherent I am. There are also links to Booktubers that I think you should go and check out because the YouTube algorithm is rubbish. If you haven't done so, please click the notification bell because that will tell you when I have posted a video, because I'm not a regular poster, because apparently YouTube's not letting subscribers know when videos have gone up, which is like defeats the object of being a subscriber. So there you go. So if you want to know what I'm doing, either come back and check regularly or click that notification bell. Thank you very much. As always, thank you very much for watching. Happy reading and be well.